Hi, folks. I had not been planning to do another live today, but then Nicola had to accidentally favorite something, so she says. Um, so I don't know what to make of that at all. So for those coming on in, just the same old thing, which is like, if you can favorite not favorite. That's an accidental favorite on my part. I did not mean to say favorite. I meant to say if you could click, if you could click the heart, the orange heart, that would be fantastic. If you cannot, double tap on the screen and give me hearts that way. That's super helpful. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, if you want to share, go ahead and share. If you need, and if you can give a gift, that'd be great. Thanks, Jenny. Appreciate that. So for those who are asking, what did Nicola accidentally favorite? So I had done a video on it. I ended up privating it since Nicola explained herself. So what had happened is Mia had done a video on Elle magazine. Elle magazine did an article on the Clada, or is that how you say, or Clada ring? That was the engagement ring that was created on by request by Nicola. They're selling it as an engagement ring for their store. The design was created requested by Nicola and things of that nature. But anyways, it was the Elle magazine around that whole conversation. And she had done a video on it, and apparently Nicola favorited the video. And you know that according to that one interview that Nicola had with Luke and Claudia, she had never known that people could see the favorites until that one video that individual did that showed, oh my word, Nicola favorited my video. And so that's how she first found out people would know. So when she favorited Mia's video, and Mia let us know she favorited it, I was like, that cannot be by accident. That's got to be intentional, because she knows that we would see that. I mean, or at least that the person whose video it was would see that and potentially do a video on it, because it's very exciting when you get favorited or liked or commented by Nicola. So the chances were high you would know. So that's why so I did a video in response to that, because we had talked about it in the live earlier today about how weird it was that Elle magazine had Elle magazine had come out with this story, and we didn't know why. Well, I didn't know why it was coming out that way, so late into the process. Why is it coming out now? It's just strange. But then, before I was even done with my bocce, it came back that Nicola was like, it was just an accident. So there it be. Okay. So there's conversation about a video, and I have not seen this video. All I will ask is it something that was on Luke's page? Because if it was not on Luke's page, I don't need to know. And that can be a conversation in another place. Because if it's not on Luke's page, I've requested people not to tell me stuff. Okay, so it's not on Luke's page. Let's move on from that conversation. It's on Tiff's account. I'm really surprised if Tiff would have put something. What would Tiff have put in her account? No, it was someone recording at the HQ event. Oh, okay. Yeah. Then if that's the case, it's on TikTok, and Tiff also shared on IG. Okay. But it's nothing on Luke's account. I don't need to care. Because to me, it's again, what I'm focusing on, and I should clarify to folks too, because one of the things I had said is I'm not going on, I had blocked 3 individuals that I feel like is adjacent to the conversation, and I don't really want to have people provide any more context. But I should clarify also, like, what I really mean is, unless Nick and Luke put something on their pages, it's not something I'm bothering with, because it's not something that he is wanting to necessarily make public. Just because other people don't respect his privacy and don't care to, like, let him tell his own story, that's not going to be that's not going to be my deal. Like, if somebody videotaped him at this event and they seem cozy and all those things, well, okay. Still not my place to know, because that's still not something that Luke requested on his behalf to be expressed and shared with people. I still think it's an invasion of their privacy, and that's just where I stand on it. Okay, so that is really where things are right now. Nicola accidentally liked that post. Now, did Nicola accidentally like that post for a reason? Is it truly an accident? When I did a response back, I had to do my response back a few times because I knew that my responses sounded like skeptical that it was an accident. So that's why I think I wasn't sure if I thought it was an accident. Shelly said, which post did Nicola accidentally like? Did she remove the like? It wasn't a like, it was a favorited. And now I don't know if she removed the favorite. She just explained the favorite to Mia. She said to Mia that it was an accident that she favorited it. Karen said, can you unlike it? The post, you can unlike the post, can't you? She didn't take it back, right? I don't know if she took it back or not. She just explained to Mia, who then shared the comment of explanation from Nicola that said that was just an accident. Zuri says, girl, I agree. I'm also not sure it was an accident. YLIWB said, I don't know. I accidentally favorite videos all the time. If it's that little bookmarky thing in the bottom, if that's the favorites, I accidentally do that all the time. And if I don't pay attention, I might accidentally keep it that way. But sometimes I look down and I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to hit that. And I unfavorite it. But I do think it is easy to do. Star, to like is easy. To favorite takes more effort. Oh, okay. Then what is the favorite one? It's not that little, is a bookmark different than favoriting? Like, what is favoriting? Which icon is the favoriting? Okay, so Karen said Mia did a live earlier and she didn't take it back. Like Nicola didn't take back the favorite, like she kept the favorite. Is that what you're saying? Or something else? Jenny said, what do you think she meant about I wish it was more interesting? Maybe, I think it just meant what she said, that she wishes it was more interesting. Thanks, Chris. Because I think everybody was supposing that it was something major, right? And it's like, well, I wish it was more interesting than that. Okay, so it is the bookmark. If it is the bookmark, I think that is pretty easy because I've definitely hit the bookmark many a times. Is there something more after hitting the bookmark that I'm supposed to do that I never realized I was supposed to do to favorite it? Because I thought if I just hit that, it automatically saved it. But if there's another button I have to press to make it save as a bookmark, then maybe I was wrong. The person with the flower with stars around it said it. I accidentally favorite things all the time. I just did it earlier. Yeah, I totally do. So I definitely think she could have done it by mistake, which still begs the question of, like, she's still looking at stuff. Whether Mia's stuff is still coming up on her page. So push comes to shove, like every time I dream that at some point Nicola will see my stuff, could be a reality. If she's getting Mia's stuff and we're in the same, like, Lukola content stuff, she must be seeing other things. There's a lot of Lukola content, so I don't know. It makes me hopeful. Thank you, Sheeny. Yeah. And Philip says, wait, a second live? Yeah, I wasn't going to do it until the favoriting happened. I was like, then I was like, the favoriting and then the explanation about how it was an accidental favorite. Okay. Then I just was like, you're expecting me to come back from bocce. I was not going to come back from bocce and do one. But then I was like, man, but she favorited that. Do I want to talk to folks about that? But then she had to come and up at another level by saying it was an accidental favorite. And then I was like, now I'm even more intrigued. Because I still think the L timing is curious. YLYWB said, when you favorite, the bookmark icon becomes yellow. That's why I know for sure I've done it. Because I've like looked down and I'm like, why is this thing yellow? I didn't mean to do that. Alicia, she didn't have to comment through, though, about after the fact. She knows exactly what she's doing, LOL. And it begs the thing. Not only did she favorite it, Mia's video, or I don't know which video she commented on. Was it the video that Mia was talking about the favoriting? If she did, again, she's in the page. She sees it. Something alerted her that another video was made. So, you know what I'm saying? So there is this awareness that she has. So even saying something after the fact really says, I'm aware. I am not missing. I am lurking. Bubble says, maybe one day Nick would accidentally join this live. I would love that. Whoops, how did I get into this live? I did not mean to press join or whatever you have to press to get in here. That would be a thrill. Can you imagine? Everybody would be like, make her a guest right now. Karen said, Mia said Nick has liked a few of Mia's posts before. Ooh. See, she's up in Mia's space. She knows. She knows. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Alana said, the way I thought your name was Bocce and not Phoebe. Well, I think the only reason people know my name is Phoebe is because I forget sometimes that I say my name. But I say my name because sometimes I'm thinking a thought like, oh, Phoebe, how could you not? So then I say that and I just leave it in the video because I'm like, that's really how I talk. I talk to myself like, what are you thinking? The Greenbird Brigade said, even if it was accidental, why go through the trouble of explaining? So true. And I think it's because it really did cause a ruckus a little bit. Like, what is this supposed to mean? Is there something coming out? Because all of these things lining up, it feels very interesting. Lexi said that popped into her FYP. It means she's seen a lot more about the ship. I know, right? That's the thing. It really makes me aware the potential. Like, even though in my head I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think she'll ever see any of this stuff. I'm such a small account in comparison to Tiff and in comparison to Mia, in comparison to a lot of like large creators, you know? And plus I'm like a month in. Like, how much traction can I... Well, I mean, though I will say, even though it's been a month and a few days, I do feel like a lot has happened with this account, and that has had a lot to do with all of y'all's. So, because a lot of y'all's have really chosen to be consistent and like be in my pages. Be in my page and comment on the videos and reach out to me, even though I'm so behind on DMs. I think that's going to be like my mantra for a really long time, that I'm behind on DMs. But just know I will eventually get to yours. But please try to bump it up because I'm trying to sneak in times to do DMs. But with this bocce tournament coming up, harder, because I need to get some practice in for sure. Karen said, and Nick has been more radio silent, and this happens. No, now we know she really's been all over socials. Yeah. Mary said, I was about to go to bed. Well, I wasn't planning for this to be a long one either. I was like, maybe I'll stay on for like 30 minutes to an hour. Because I need to adult tomorrow. I hate it when I have to think about adulting. Jennifer said, I miss her. Same Z's. So yeah. Star said this chat is now only 2 degrees of separation. Mia to Nick. That's right. We could at least say we're 2 degrees of separation. I love that. So yeah, so I don't know. Did y'all think it's accidental? Or did you find it even more suspicious because she explained herself? Karen says Mia says she thinks Nick was protecting her. Oh, that's sweet. Dark to Happiness says sus. More. Amar said more suspicious for sure. Mary says super suspicious. What say you, Nicola, if you're in the space? I'm just kidding. M. Phillips says, I was watching the same set of video when Nick commented, so we basically hung out tonight. I love it. Star said not accidental. Alicia, I find it more suspicious. Rena, more suspicious. Charlie said, I don't understand what Mia even said about the video. Miss Tin says suspicious. Rachel, definitely more suspicious. Philip says Nick and I are basically best friends. L.Mo82, I was requesting people not to discuss anything that Luke doesn't put on his page, so I'm not going to be discussing the GQ dinner. Now if he puts it on his page, then I'll have no choice but to reckon with it. But right now, I want to live in my own la la land. No pun intended. But when it came out of my mouth, I realized there was. Diana said, I think it was an accident and she had to do damage control once it caught attention. Probably. There's a bit of truth in that. Karen, LOL. Sheeby said, do you think they will be at Wimbledon? I mean, there are potential. They said that they think that they would be at Wimbledon. Again, apparently they did go last year. People said separately, and they'll probably do the same thing this year separately. Flower with Stars says complete accident, and the clarification makes sense because people look so deep into everything she says. I mean, valid. Tegan Pete said, I think it was accidental. She knows how we will analyze. She's not wrong. Marie said, I think it was accidental in her eyes, but it was destiny. I love that. Ava said, what makes it suspicious, though? I think, Ava, the only reason people probably do think it's suspicious is just the timing. It was just the timing of, like, certain things coming out today. You know, I think that maybe part of it is like protecting Mia, like Mia had said. Part of it may be just trying to create a different story that could take attention away from anything else that might cause a ruckus within the fandom. Because she is protective of her friends. Lauren says, I think it's accidental. It was 1:45 a.m. I accidentally follow people when I do it at that time. Oh, thank you, Miss Barrios. Okay. Oh, was it 1:45 that she did it? Is that the time difference? IWB said, accidental. Guess I'm the only one. No, you're not the only one. There's other folks that said accidental. Kita said Nick knows her commenting would stir up. I mean, I think it's always exciting. Let's, L.Mo82 said, okay, sorry. No problems. That's why I just let people know, because I'm not going to assume that everybody was at a previous live, or was in the space when I first let people know. So I thank you for apologizing. You didn't know before, now you know, so I really appreciate that. YLIWB said, wait, I see more accidental now. LOL. And that's the beauty of the space, right? You have people who just see things very differently because there's different things that inform how we view the same situation. Bubble said Nick was probably tired and when she did that because it was late. They are night owls, they say. Nicole said, I believe it's just an accident. Nick chimed in when someone commented about the Sophie post-it too. Okay, Nick chimed in when someone about the Sophie post-it. I don't know what that is. Jennifer says she was up super late because I think it was like 2 a.m. by her when she accidentally saved video. Okay, got it. So people are saying let's take into consideration the time frame. in which it happened. Stephanie said, I don't think Nick was expecting Mia to share that she favorited the video, so she explained why. That might also be a very valid possibility, Stephanie, because if Mia shared in her live that there were other things that Nicola had liked in the past, and she never like made a big deal about it or told people or did a video on it, she may have thought, hey, she's not going to necessarily talk about this. Maybe. I don't know. That's a possibility. Zarina said there is a laughing emoji on her comment, so I don't think it is an accident. Oh, I need to look back at the comment. A laughing emoji on her comment. Where was the laughing emoji? Oh, maybe the laughing emoji is like laughing at herself for accidentally doing it. Maybe. Star said most likely at the women's or men's finals. Oh, for Wimbledon. Karen said, where is Nick filming the magic tree? London, a London question mark. So I don't know if people answered that question. Shelly said, is it true they can't announce any relationships for 90 days after release per contract? I read that. I don't know if that's true. I don't think we have privy to anybody's contract. However, there is rumblings around the fact that somebody threw it out. I don't know who started the rumor or who started the conversation around 90 days, but I have heard it. That because there's a push to get 90 days, you have 90 days after the release to try to push it into the top 10 of Netflix, like to push it up as high as possible. So I think that that's where it came from. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, on the 91st day if he puts her picture on Instagram officially. Plus size cutie said, even if it was accidental, she watched the video. A win is a win. I love that. Karina said, hopefully Luke knows better than... I'll stop I'll stop not reading that out loud. Sorry. Jay said, wait, protecting Luke. Is this when I said that maybe she was also doing it not only to protect Mia, but to protect her friends? I mean, possibly, because there was a conversation that people were about to have in my chat. I requested to not have it unless Luke... To me, I'm saying keep it to Luke's page, keep it to Nick's page. I don't care about anything that gets leaked elsewhere. There are... The great thing about Lukola content is there's different content creators, and different content creators focus on different things. And I always tell people I recognize that I may not be your content creator. I may not be the one you want, and that is okay with me. Because there are going to be other content creators you're going to jive with more with the kind of information they want to give you. So I will not be the ones that, like, you're going to have breaking news from other people, which might make my channel less enticing to you. But to me, the only breaking news I care about is if it lands on Luke's page or lands on Nicola's page alone. I don't care about the leaks that happen on X or Tumblr or Reddit or other people, even other content creators telling us about what's happening in all those spaces. Like, I don't need to know. Like, I really want to be laser focused and go, what does Nicola officially want us to know through her pages, and what does Luke officially want us to know through their through his page? Because aside from that, those leaks are because either people are not respecting the privacy they're requesting, so why would I want to honor that by giving it a platform? So if there was some footage taken at a dinner and then it's now being like shared around, I'm sure you're going to have many a conversation with everybody else. But like, I want to protect my peace. And to me, it's like, that's not on his page. That's none of my concern. That's not my stress. Molly said, I'd rather see Nick go with Claudia or someone fun. Oh, Claudia's hilarious. Carlise says, Miss Nicola is too smart to accidentally save a post. Besides, there was a laughing emoji. And I mean, and here's the thing. When we land on different places of like, was it an accident? Was it not an accident? What does the laughing emoji mean? What does not the laughing emoji mean? It's because those things are something that can be interpreted in multiple ways. That's why I'm like, you know, it's valid why people fall in whatever like stance they have on those issues, because I'm like, each group can make a very convincing argument why their perspective is probably right, which actually makes it possible that we could also be wrong. But you know what I mean. Diana said, I bet she's gonna look so good if she goes. Fire. Caroline said, yeah, she should just go with her friends. Diana said, what is going on tonight? Just talking about the accidental favorite done by Nicola on Mia's post tonight. Caroline said Nicola is probably to attend the semis or finals. She's a big star now. High Hill said, yes, Phoebe, keep doing what you're doing. Only focus on Nicola and Luke. Rena said, I have different Lukola creators, just like I have different friends in real life. Love them all. Yeah, I love that, Rena. Yeah, and that's the thing I say to folks all the time. Like, the great thing about being a Lukola creator is the fact that all of us are so different. So it may be the same kind of content in the sense of like we're bringing you information about Nick and Luke, but we do it differently. It's mixed with who we are as people, right? And so I think we just come authentically who we are as people, and so it's gonna be different. And so that's why I always say the ones that it's meant for will stay, and the ones it's like you're not giving enough gossip or you're not, doing enough of this. I'm like, I am not the one. I'm sorry. I'm just not the one. Let's see. The Greenbird Brigade said, well, right now they want us to know nothing. And I like that observation, Greenbird Brigade, that right now they want us to know nothing. That's an actually true statement. It's literally a request for privacy when it comes down to it. Because if they wanted us to know, they would tell us. And the fact that they refuse, both of them, to put anything specific to any of this on their timeline says, like let's keep it on this topic. People can say, well, those are business ones. That's why. Well, yeah, that's what we have access to. We do not have access to their personal lives. Yes, some people say they know that so-and-so has a private account and all these different things. Okay, but at the same time, like, this is the public-facing one. And we are the only allowed the public-facing one. So, that's all we know. And right now, they're choosing to tell us that they want us to know nothing. That's something we gotta respect to some degree. It's like the question of like, sure, am I curious about all of these things? Does a part of me go, oh, if I really take my stance really strongly, does that mean I'm gonna miss out on all of this gossip and all this stuff? Will I miss out on it? And the reality is I will miss out on it. But I also will not miss out on how I feel afterwards. I really end up feeling crappy. And I'm like, it's like eating junk food for me. Like, I may like it in the moment, but my stomach hurts afterwards. So it's like, yeah, I may want to know, but what does it serve me after I hear it? Does it make me feel happier? Does it make me feel like I want to support? Like, probably not. So why am I going to actively consume something that's going to just make me feel bad when it's not even something that they're willing to own on their own page? You know what I mean? Star said Mia was just stating the fact on the L story, and the jeweler posts that as an engagement ring. Diana said, you must have been responding to something because you start off with no. Because they love it when the fans dissect. They've said it, and Nicola is a Swiftie. She loves that. Lippy said, I swear that ring is about her and Luke in one way or another. Jennifer says maybe Luke is just trying to figure out what they have, or even if there is something there, maybe. And Philip says, yes, exclamation mark. Okay, I must have missed questions. M. Phillips says, I have such a dip in emotions after. Why go on the roller coaster? Exactly. So, I mean, I understand and respect that some folks are going to want to go on a roller coaster. Because there is such a dopamine hit. But literally, like, this ride has been bumpy. Like, high, then low, high, low. Like, the reason and the only reason, and this is why I said I am only going to focus on what Nick or Luke or the only adjacents I want to hear from are only Bridgerton cast and crew if they're bringing, like, Ryan Wheeler energy. Because I don't want to hear cast and crew if they're not bringing Ryan Wheeler energy, right? So that is the only thing I want to hear. Because, you know, I'm not, and I said this in the live earlier, I'm not saying ignorance is bliss. I'm not trying to be ignorant of things. But I'm like, look, I'm wanting to experience what it means to look like a person who's not chronically online. I am chronically online. Obviously, I'm here. Hey, thanks, Cloudy Cloud. I want to experience what a non-chronically online person would experience just by looking at Nicola and Luke's page. And let me tell you, a non-chronically online person would not be having a roller coaster right now. Not even a little bit. It's only because we bother with, thanks, Jana, reading all these, like, quote-unquote leaks. Oh, now we saw a video of them here. Oh, now we saw... Why are you stressing yourself out? The man has not put anything on his page. Focus on his page and you're not going to be stressed out. Like, there's nothing there. They're keeping it under wraps for a reason, one way or another. Francesca, same thing I've said to folks. I'm not actually looking, even if it is Tiff, and I love Tiff. Even if she did share something in regards to that, I'm not. It's that I'm not looking. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be looking. I'm trying to live a stress-free life. Gally said, I agree, Bocce. After a while, it feels invasive. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, why are folks filming that? Like, is it for Luke's benefit? Probably not, right? Ava said, well, he gone be confused again once season 4 starts shooting. LOL. LYSS says, shipping co-stars will always be a bumpy ride. LOL. Maybe. And yet at the same time, I feel like this one has been bumpier. But I mean, maybe. And honestly, this is like the only one that I've ever shipped that are like... Is this the first one? Probably, because the rest I've ever shipped have been characters. I don't know if I've ever shipped real life people. Have I? I have to think about that. If I have, it's been a really long time. Cloudy Cloud says, I need positivity right now. Yeah, and honestly, you know, we'll find out in 91 days, right? If the 90 days is real. Shibi said, I think Nick is afraid a relationship could impact her career. She works so hard. I mean, I think she is just focused, right? Booked and busy. There's so much life to live. And I think she's just going after it. And I'm proud of her. There's a reason I heavily respect her. Marissa said exactly. And a non-internet person would not know about all the speculation and craziness. I prefer not to. Exactly. You know, it's like they talk about like how we spend so much time worrying about things that don't even end up happening. It's like, look, I have such little energy that the energy I want to spend is on things that make me happy. And at this point, like, I think about the fact that the only things I want to expose myself to are things that are on Luke and Nick's page. And then interviews. Because anything that has their actual words or their fingerprints, that's the one that I'm listening to. I'm not reading articles that say this or that, and it has no direct quote from either of them. because that's speculation usually. So I just want to hear what they say, you know, period. I want them to be able to feel like they can write their own narrative, because in as a celebrity, you're so used to people creating your narratives for you. You want to be able to make yours. Marie said, what date is the 90 days? I don't remember. Sometime in August, I think. Cecilia said, what's 91 days? There's just a speculation that really a lot of PR is being done to try to drive viewership to Bridgerton. And then that is needed for the 90 days in order to get into the top 10 of Netflix all-time rating, viewership rating or whatnot. They're already there, but get even higher. Ziki said it's their chemistry that's just so magnetic. Amar said, regardless of their relationship status, what they gave us on tour is 100% real. Yeah, I stand by that as well. Because I think people, I said it earlier in my earlier live, which is when relationships end, which is not there's no relationship ending, but the way things ended at the promo tour and with the fan base and all that stuff. Sometimes when things don't work out the way people want, they look back on situations and say, was any of that real? And I just want to affirm what Amar said, which is, it was. That part of who they were, the way they showed up, their actual interaction with each other, that was real. That was not acting. As much as people are that's just PR, that's just acting. No, that's who they are as people. And their cast and crew has seen that over the years. Jay said, I agree regarding not wanting to risk her career. The flowers with the stars said, I'd love for them to end up together, but one of them has a lot of growing to do. I will say this too. It's not only growing, because I would like to believe that all of us as people never think we're there, right? That we've arrived somewhere. I would like to believe as human beings, we know that we have places to grow at all times in our life. But what I will say is that I do think that he and Nicola have a lot of room for growth if they're to be together, because that's a different element of being of growth, right? There's personal growth, but there's even just growth in knowing how to be in each other's life, because being friends is so vastly different than being in a romantic relationship. And when I say vastly, maybe not vastly, because I think romantic relationships have typically the foundation of friendship. Not always, but I think the long-lasting ones do. But yeah. Tam said, hi, didn't realize you were on live. I wasn't planning to be on live, Tam. But Nicola had to charge me up with the accidental favorite. Plus size cutie said, this is my first and last time shipping. I'm so confused. Yeah, and here's the thing, right? This is why I said, again, I want to just focus on Nick and what things that Nicola and Luke do, themselves, interviews, accidental favorites, but what they post on their Instagram. Those are, to me, or articles where they do interviews that way as well. Those are the things that I know clearly what they want to communicate. Anything else is straight up open for interpretation, and I'm not up there trying to live that life, because it's I'm good. Let me have my uncomplicated life right now. Van 2026 said, every woman can wear a ring symbolically, and she wore it for the first time there in her hometown. Ava said, I've shipped Emma and Garfield, Tom and Z, so 100% success rate so far. I have hope. I love that. So that means that you know what to look for in the dynamics of people, because you picked up on things all the time. That's awesome. Obviously, also Spider-Man and a love interest of Spider-Man seems to be part of it. They talked about how that's the case with the franchise themselves, that it turns out they always end up dating in that franchise. It's probably an intense kind of filming or something that makes people fall for that. Let's see. Diana said, I've never in my life cared to ship any actress or actors. This one hit me like a truck. And you know what? A lot of folks in the space would probably say the same thing. K Cham 97 said, I calculated it. 90 days would be September 11. Oh, my word. You're right. You're right. Because someone said September 11. And I was like, how could I forget that too? Because it's a very memorable day. But yes, September 11 would be 90 days. Amar said, I don't believe Nick would have behaved that way on tour if Luke was in a serious relationship. I agree. That's why I feel like there's pieces that people don't know. And people are just making assumptions about the status of a relationship to be more serious than it actually is. Or that it is serious. Maybe it's serious now, but I don't think it was at that time. Simply because they had not that deep of an opportunity to make it deep before he went on this promo tour. Susanna said, but what PR is happening where that would be warranted? Where what would be warranted? Should I know? I probably should know, but I may have already lost it. Oh, my word. I'm so behind. Okay, I'm going to go back down here. Joanne Mobs 5 said, agree on Nick being booked and busy. It's curious that Luke isn't. I hope things are in the pipeline. I believe he has auditioned for several roles. I don't know if anything has come to fruition. It's going to be interesting too, because whatever role he does book, you know, he would probably have to work it out with Bridgerton, because Bridgerton is starting in September. So then all this logistical pieces of like if he's going to start filming something else, because right now the filming that Nicola's doing, I think, will be over by September, and so it should not be an issue for her. But I don't know. There might be other things coming for her too. The person with the flower and stars said, I ship me and Luke Thompson, and that's where my energy is right now. Christina said, did something new go down? Nothing really new went down more than just Nicola accidentally. Or so she says. No, but if she says it, even though if there's a little bit of a doubt in my brain, I still have to say, believe, I mean, like, that's what she's saying. So unless there's some like evidence that otherwise that's so heavy that would make me think that she had to just say that, you know, I would take her at face value that it was accidental. And because I've definitely favorited things by accident, and then I'm like looking back and I'm like, well, when did I do that? 234456789 user. It is 90 days from part 1 release in May. I believe they do. Is it? Because I was told it was based off of part 2 release date. I could be wrong though, but that's what I had heard. Zeke said, I believe they start up with season 4 in September. So, because if we did May, what would 90 days be from that? I really do think it's supposed to be for part 2, because that's when the full series was out, but I don't know. Molly said, shipping has been miserable and I need to move on. Like, it's sad. Oh, I'm so sorry, Molly. You know, sometimes that might be what you need to do. Like, sometimes when something becomes like a labor, like it no longer gives you joy, because here's the reality. This shipping business was supposed to be fun. It's always been supposed to be fun. It was never supposed to be something that causes such upheaval or sadness or any of these things. That was never the intention of shipping. Shipping came because we saw two people who genuinely had sincere love for each other. That's why everybody got on board. It wasn't to cause people pain. So if it's at a place in your life it's causing you pain, I'm like, yeah, take a break from it. Unfollow me or something. Unfollow other people that's, potentially putting you in a space that's not good for you, We'll be here still when and if you want to come back. The person with the flower and star said, it's 2 a.m. I have work in the a.m., but here I am for the chisme. Or Is that how we say it? But Zeke said, wait, what did she favorite? It was the video that Mia did on the Elle magazine article. MF Egg says, manifesting more breadcrumbs than a full course meal from Luke and Nicola. May said, hey, just finished work. Hey, May. Yeah, I was just popping in for a little bit. I wasn't even going to pop in at all. I was like, you know, but then Nicola had to like something, favorite something accidentally. And here I am. It always makes me laugh when I see that I liked my own live because I accidentally double tap the screen. And before, I never knew that's what caused people to like a live. And I would always be like, why did I like my own live? I was always so confused until I found out it's double tapping the screen that does that. And I was like, oh. Because I was like, isn't that vain to like my own live? Well, actually, that's not necessarily vain. You gotta be proud of the product you put out, right? Like, you know, when people complain about somebody always wearing their brand, like I'm a big Russell Wilson fan, and people are like, oh, why is he always wearing his own brand? And why does his family and his kids? And it's like, look, if you're not willing to wear your own clothes, why should anybody else buy it? LYSS says, I've dealt with this before with Tom and Zendaya, and I'll do it again. I love that spirit. Molly, I will not unfollow you. How dare you? I was just suggesting if you needed to. That's all. I always tell folks, like, there's times people have had to, like, take a rest from lives or take a rest from my videos or anybody's videos, right? Like, I never find offense to that. I always will support people first and foremost for what they need. And sometimes we need breaks. Like, there's times where I'm like, I don't have the strength for it, you know? King said, I can't understand why I'm so obsessed. You know, I think it makes perfect sense, honestly. Like, I mean, at least for me, I love, to be honest. And there was just something very magnetic about their friendship. And it's something respectable and admirable and sweet. And so it's fun to watch it. And, you know, obviously there's nothing technically to watch right now, but still. The cat said, wait, what did she favor? I just got here. It was the whole thing with Mia's video on Elle magazine. Diana said, the shipper is live too. Everyone is on tonight. Yeah, I did not know that. Yeah, so, I mean, here's another thing that's been really great to see. I've been seeing like more folks that are doing lives. Like, I think I saw Ho do, like, I heard Ho or hers is Ho, but her name's Heather, right? She's done a live. Who else do I know that? I think Tiff did a live, but maybe an Instagram or something. I'm not quite sure. So I'm glad that Tiff is going back into doing some lives. I'm like, people are doing lives, and then I can only think of two names off the top of my head. Obviously, the shipper too, which I'm glad the shipper's doing some lives because, like, the shipper and I have very different, not different content per se, but kind of, right? We have very different takes on things, and I definitely know, like, there's a certain audience for the content she has that would be served by her and not by me. Megan said, can someone explain the situation? I'm lost. It's not really that major of a situation, Megan. It literally was just that Mia had talked about the Elle magazine, which talked about the Clada ring that Nicola designed that is ending up being sold as an engagement ring. And then Nicola ended up favoriting the video. And then Mia did a video about her favoriting it. And then Nicola responded with a comment saying, hey, it was an accident. I didn't mean to actually favorite it. And she wished it was more interesting. I'm behind chat, so y'all probably are like, Phoebe, they actually already got it because you explained it 5 bazillion times since they arrived. And you're just behind on chats. I know. Daniela said, Nicola is my endgame crush. Lauren, as someone who has shipped them since Bridgerton was released, just appreciate what we get. Love that. Amy said, we just have to be patient. If they are meant to be, it will happen. Might take a while. Yeah, and if in the end it's like not them, I think we just want to see them happy. And if it's like, I think it's just hard sometimes when we've seen that deep level of connection to like there is something in human nature that goes, unless the spouse or whoever the relationship is that they're having can match that level, it's hard to not feel like they're almost like I hate the term downgrading when it comes to people, so not downgrading. It almost feels like a missed opportunity for something that's deeper and more connected. Cecilia said, I've liked, favorited, and reposted on TikTok when I'm falling asleep while on my phone. Panic attacks. Plus size cutie said, Mia went live too. But Mia's not still live though, right? She just went live. She had gone live to explain things probably. Cloudy Clouds, are we able to talk about Nick liking Mia's video today? That's all we've been talking, not all that we've been talking about, but that's pretty much what we've talked about. Diana said, this Delulu and shipping is a torture, but one which I cannot, will not, do not want to give up. I mean, honestly, Luke gave us, or Colin gave us, like one of the best lines to describe our Delulu and shipping. Absolutely. I have definitely done that. But MFX says, everyone is on tonight. Well, that's good because I am getting off in 10 minutes. So for folks that may be like, I want to go listen to some shipper. Maybe some folks have already got to go see some shipper, but I will be off in like 10 minutes and y'all can have your chance to hear other folks takes on things. Let's see here. Daniela said Tiff is going to do a live here in TikTok because she was banned from Insta for 2 weeks. Like, I heard it was something about showing a still from the mirror scene. So, whoopsies. Angie said, I think I just fell in love with Nick because of this press tour. She's just fun. She is fun. Jenny said the shipper is also live. That's what we heard. And Mia went live. Angela said Mia went live today and she wanted to reiterate that she wasn't implying they were engaged. And it was around 7 Pacific Standard Time. Got it. Oh, and some people said Karen, Mia, hold on, what was that? Mia was live around 6 p.m. So, I mean, people probably saying it from their particular time frame. D-Nice 3077 says she was live earlier and she clarified things. Melody says, I'm a child of divorced parents. I'm taking mom's side for now. Molly said, I don't think they're going to show us that connection again. I think they'll be different now. They probably will be different now. I mean, only because there is potentially the assumed girlfriend, right? And depending on what Luke chooses to do and declare publicly, that will change how they engage. There's just no way it wouldn't. Dan V said, is there another video or photo? No. Not that I know. Wait, hold on. Yes, there is that people are talking about from the GQ event, but if you go to the shipper right after I finish, or even before I finish, I could imagine that the shipper would probably be talking about that. So I know that there were some folks really interested in discussing that, and I probably will see a big drop in folks in this space because they just want to know about that. So I think the shipper would be totally open to discussing things that I'm never open to discussing. So feel free. I'm not going to be offended. And plus, I'm ending this in like 8 minutes. Shanti said Mia made other posts too, like the relationship status page on Nicola, but she liked just the ring post. Sydney said, was there any Wimbledon sightings? I do not know. Diana said, I hope it's not like Corey in India. I hope it's not going to be that level. That level was too wild. Level was too much. Like, they could not even function. It hurt my heart how awkward they became. It really genuinely hurt my heart. I was like, what is happening here? I understand that they had to like decrease the level of playfulness with each other, but to not have any at all and to kind of be standoffish and like not even know how to like not be afraid to even touch each other in a normal way. I was so sad about that. Ava said, do you think different tabloids journalists shipping them adds substance to our Delulu? I don't know if it adds substance. It may add corroboration, but I don't know if it adds substance. I do think interviewers get to see how people are before and after interviews. That informs how they write their articles. So I do think that if they saw dynamics like that, they were writing about it, and there were definitely journalists that were giving that impression. Concelia, I'm just sticking with Nick. Angela said, I get the feeling Nick went to share it and accidentally favorited it. Possibly, yeah. Karen said, no Wimbledon sightings as of now. Sierra said, what are we talking about? I need to know. I mean, we've talked about a bunch of different things. But mostly about the favoriting of the Mia post by Lukola. And then her explaining it away with an accident. The Greenbird Brigade said, I never shipped Corey in India. I didn't understand why people did. They acted like siblings to me. I mean, they definitely really had a great presence with each other. And I guess that's why I was very sad that they could not even act a bit normal after. It was very clear that a conversation was had. But I just feel like then they overanalyzed everything they did. And that's why I got a little bit nervous in the London interview where Lukola and Luke were like, oh, we can't do anything. And I'm like, please don't get to that place. That whatever we do, people are going to read it incorrectly or read into it or whatever. I'm like, I didn't want you to get to that level, so please don't. So hopefully, if they give us something when season 4 starts, we don't go too like too wild about it. But we probably will. But that's the thing, you know. It's like that's why I think they will change to some degree their interaction with each other. But like the thing is, like, what if they don't? Like, how are people gonna feel if they don't? Like, what if he comes out and declares his assumed girlfriend to be, like, actually does a post on IG or does something, an interview where he actually verbally states that's the case, but then him and Lukola still act the same? Are people going to still be weirded out by that? Maybe. Probably. Angela said, I don't even like saying Delulu. We saw what we saw. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that statement. Like, why say Delulu when it really, it's not as if we didn't have factual evidence on our behalf. We absolutely did. For people to act like that wasn't a logical conclusion to come to, not necessarily like, maybe it wasn't a necessity to believe that they were together. That didn't need to be the natural conclusion. But like to know and believe that interaction is rare, and like you would be rooting for folks to get together that have that type of connection. I don't think that's at all delusional, because there definitely was facts connected to it. KCham97 said he won't be weird, just more confirmation. LOL. Yeah, King said it's inappropriate behavior if he has a girlfriend. Disrespectful, like scoot over on the couch. Okay, yes. That probably is that lack of space in that interview. I do think like that would not be cool. If that's why I feel like there was that people assume that there was a girlfriend during the whole time because he had met her prior to the tour. But I really don't think, again, that's why I always felt like it's I felt and I still feel that it is a casual situationship, friends with benefit thing, because I don't think that Luke would have been acting that way, hopefully. And Nicola, definitely, but this is assuming certain things, right, about them as people. But me assuming the best for both people makes me go, I have a hard time believing they would act that way if this assumed girlfriend was a factor during the tour at all. And by his actions, she was not a factor. Sydney said they let us think they were in love because they told us friends don't do things like hold hands. This is the thing that I know that people might disagree with me on, because I know somebody in the DMs disagree with me on this, is that she said, I mean, the question, see, here's the thing, it was in a different language. So people heard only the English response. But the question was, he holds your hand while walking. That the full sentence or the full question was, he holds your hand while walking. That's what they were saying was love. That's why she says, I grab your arm in that answer. We know she grabs his hand and holds his hand when they're standing. But when she said, I grab your arm, because we've seen her walk with him with her arm through, like with her arms through his arms or whatever, or her hand on his arms or whatever. That's why she answered it like, I grab your arm, or I grab Claudia's, or whatever. Like, I grab people's arms or whatever. That was her response, because it was in connection to walking. And I have never seen them. To this day, I've never seen them walk hand in hand. I've just seen them stand hand in hand. I mean, and I'm not counting when they're Colin and Penn, obviously. When they're acting, you know, that's part of the role. But them as people, as themselves, you know, I just don't see that. I said I was leaving at 11:30, but I actually might stay a little bit longer. I hope y'all don't mind. I might stay another 15. Hopefully y'all don't mind. Well, I'll find out. Let me get to the bottom here. Sarahi said, honestly, if they never be together, I'll always be supporting them. Both Luke and Nicola has my whole heart. Yeah. And just letting folks know that I'm just letting folks know that my focus will always be just Luke and Nicola's pages, their interviews, anything that's coming out of their mouths by choice to the world. I'm not going to be looking at this new release of video. I feel like it's invasive, and he never asked for it to be put out. Now, mind you, he might have, but if he did, but he didn't put it on his main page, I'm still not counting it. Angie said, I don't mind at all. Stay as long as you need. Okay, thank you. And Heather B also said, I can't sleep, so stay. Well, I was never going to leave y'all high and dry. I told you the shipper is also having a chat. That's why I was like, oh, but I actually am enjoying this, so I do want to stay a few more minutes, and then folks can either sleep or do other things. Okay. Amy said, we also don't know what kinds of conversations Luke and Nicola have had with one another. Absolutely. The Green Bird Brigade. I'm not watching it either. No point. Oh, what are you not watching? I have my. Oh, the video. Yeah. I mean, the people need to ask themselves, what is the value? What is the value of watching that video? To reaffirm what you already know? and be frustrated that he's still not publicly talking about it. Like, it's a rinse and repeat situation, right? Like, I'm like, why am I going to put myself through the ringer over the same thing when I'm like already frustrated? So I'm rather, instead of getting frustrated, I'm just going like, what is Luke willing to tell the world publicly through his IG right now? And the answer is nothing. He's not willing to tell people anything. And the only reason people think he's told them anything is because they spend time looking at other people trying to give context to Luke's posts. And it's not worth it. Kinsella says he's in a public setting. He knew he'd be on camera. Yeah, he did. Still not on his page. Still none of my concern. Cloudy Cloud says this is the crisis center. Christina said, I bet you he put a pause on actually pursuing her until the tour was coming to a close. I think so. I think so. And I think that's smart. I think that was a smart decision. They were on a break, most likely. User with a bunch of numbers right behind it said, I need the fate y'all have. Ann Phillips says, Nicola likes her personal space, and Luke likes Nicola's personal space too, LOL. It makes me laugh because that video is the video that everybody talked about. Like, so that was the Italy video, and that was the video where a lot of folks mentioned like the different tension they have throughout the day, but by the nighttime, they seem to be okay. And that particular clip is when she's fixing her clothes and he's fixing his clothes, and people were like, why are you both fixing your clothes right now? Like, what have you done that was requiring fixing of both of your clothes? Angie says, your voice is low-key soothing. It's 2:30 a.m. I might just fall asleep to your voice. I've gotten that before in the past. Actually, when I used to do customer service, people would call and I would, greet them, and then silence. They would not speak. And then I would be like, hello? And they're like, oh, you're a real person. And I was like, it's true. It's me. I'm here. Molly said it's always leaked after Nick or Bridgerton is sharing content. Yes, the pattern. And that's why it does reek of PR to me in that sense. Lexi's, okay, never mind. Lexi, I'm sorry, Mom. Daniela said, do you think my socials will keep full of Luke and Nicola content for the next 2 years? I hope so. Probably, because they're starting their filming in September. So, the only time it probably won't be anymore is like if either of them are actually in a serious relationship and it's time to move on at that point. If it's really, really serious. Like, I want to marry you and I'm willing to tell people you exist on a formal basis, serious. Ava says, not gonna lie, I'm biased towards Nick. I want the best for Luke, but he needs to want that for himself too. I mean, and I do think he wants the best for himself too. I just think that people might have different definitions of what they think the best is for Luke than maybe Luke has for himself. Angela said he's willing to tell the world that he loves Nick. True. Let's see here. Phillips says, I didn't hear about the fixing clothes thing. Yeah, rewatch that clip. You'll see Nicola fixing her outfit, which she tends to do that a lot anyway. She tends to fix her outfits a lot, which is usually she's trying to lift up that, which is normal for Nicola. It's just that it so happened that right after you see Luke coming right behind her and he's fixing his shirt and his pants kind of situation. And so people were like, why are y'all both doing it at the same time? Like, what happened? But I mean, people are probably reading into it, but it was just kind of funny how they read into the fact that they're both fixing their clothes. YLIWB said, wait, dang, I haven't seen when they were fixing their clothes. Yeah. Rena said, guys, I unshipped Brad and Angelina for almost 15 years. This is nothing, LOL. That was after Bennifer, or yeah, was it Bennifer? I think Brangelina was like the secondary name merge that happened. That's why I showed my age when somebody was talking about, I used to love Joey. I mean, I still love Joey and Pacey. And somebody said like, oh, JC or something like that. And I was like, what? Like, no, they didn't combine names at that time. You were just either Team Pacey or Team Dawson. And I was Team Pacey all the way. Every day, all day will forever be Team Pacey. Not even a question. Not even a question. KCham97 said, did you see the X post that says their IG is 99% just the two of them? No, I did not. Makes sense. Makes sense. Diana said, Colin, Luke needs to realize his feelings for Penn. Nick. Estelle said maybe Nick and Andrew Garfield can go to the Wimbledon together. Maybe. Angie says Nick likes to keep busy and always working, but Luke, I think with his anxiety, he needs a break between. And Philip says, I want to read into it, so I'm going to look it up. LOL. You tell me what you think, M. Phillips. Watching Lady, good morning. You know what? Watching Lady, I was supposed to have gotten off this live 10 minutes ago, but I'm not. Lexi said, Luke is definitely attached to Nicola and Nicola adores him, so I'm happy with that. Leo and Kate 3.0. D-Nice 3077 said, it's funny that everyone thinks that Nick doesn't have someone. For all we know, she is with someone. It is very much possible. Definitely. There's always been rumors that she is with someone. Celia said, Pacey for life, for sure. Hands down. I was like, he better be endgame in this show. Like, there's no stinking way. It was too brotherly, sisterly energy with Dawson and Joey for me. And he was just so I had to remind myself that he was a teenager so I could have grace for him, because the way he acted. I'm like, how is this Dawson's Creek? You're driving me up the wall. KCham97, Dawson was whiny. He was. He really, really was. King said Pacey for life. Absolutely. Rena said, yes, early 2000s was where I was at. I have always been Team Aniston. Yeah, that was tough. JC, I'm just letting you know, since you're probably not in the space, I am not looking at anything that is not on Luke's page. So I am not on that roller coaster, because to me, unless it's on Luke's page, I didn't need to know, and I didn't need to be the wiser, because I'm usually not the wiser for knowing stuff that people are putting out that I didn't need to know. User with a lot of numbers right behind it. 1000% Team Pacey. Susanna, I love Dawson's Creek. I so love Dawson's Creek. I tell you that when I watched Dawson's Creek on Netflix, and it wasn't that I don't want to wait till I don't want to wait for my life to be over, that song. When they had a different song as the song for Dawson's Creek on Netflix, I was like, what is this? Who is this? This is not Dawson's Creek. That is not the song. And because that song was iconic for Dawson's Creek. Like, what are you doing changing the song up and acting like we're brand new and we would not notice that is not Dawson's Creek song? So I was like, what is that? You were Susanna. I was watching it earlier tonight. Were you watching Dawson's Creek or something else? User with a lot of numbers right behind it. Two things. What video? The video from the GQ Heroes event that I am not going to watch because it serves me nothing. And what is the 90-day thing is the belief that well, not the belief. It is the reality of like you have 90 days to try to really push to get your numbers up so you could be part of Netflix like top 10 of all time of being watched. They're already there, but just getting up higher. Kinselia said no Paula Cole. Yeah, no Paula Cole. I was shooketh. I'm like, how can you replace? Who is this person? I'm sorry, it's not a slight to whoever this person is singing, but like that is not the song of Dawson's Creek. It's like changing any theme song of any show. Like what? I was like, is Netflix being cheap? They didn't want to pay Paula Cole properly? Is this why we have this song? I was really riled up, to be honest, as you can tell. Because I just didn't understand. How can you not pay Paula Cole and just have this song or whatever you need to do? This wasn't... Okay, I'm getting riled up just thinking about it because it's such an iconic part of Dawson's Creek. You just don't change that. You just don't change that. What are you doing? What are you doing? Wow, I didn't know I felt so much about that until I got off. I rarely rant, but that was really upsetting. Molly said, I was a Felicity girl. Ben and Felicity forever. Yeah. Sydney said, I feel like the dude who hit the propeller when the Titanic is sinking. Such an on point imagery, Sydney. I'm going down with the ship. Leslie said they probably couldn't get the rights to the song. Music is expensive, especially music from the 2000s. I hear that, Leslie, but it's still very hard. It's still very hard because that song, the song they put instead, and I don't know if they fixed it. I mean, I don't know if many people enough complained. Susanna, you said you watched it recently, right? So, like, did they change the song? Is it Paula Cole again? Or is it still whoever that was? User with a lot of numbers right behind it. Ooh, thanks for the clarification. I also love Dawson's Creek back then and now. Yeah. I love the show. Like, I'm sorry. I know this is supposed to be about Luke and Nicola, but I'm just, like, transported back to the scene where Joey asked Pacey to pick her up from the airport, or not airport, pick her up from, like, she had stayed with her boyfriend or something like that, and she realized her boyfriend was in love with his best friend, and so she asked him to pick her up, and he picks her up, and she's telling him, like, oh my life, I'm never gonna fall in love again, or I don't know what she was saying, and she said, and she's like, in my life, there's only been two people that has ever known me, Dawson and then he interjects. He's like, oh, this person didn't know you. And he goes, I wasn't going to say him. I was going to say you. And he's like, he pulls over that vehicle. And he's like, what does that mean? Like, and I'm screaming as a teenager. I am screaming so loud because I was like, oh my word, it's happening. It is happening. It's happening right now. And he just... what does that mean? Why am I the person that you think about? And she's like, oh, well, I'm so sorry that he's like, I'm not mad that you called me, but why? Oh, and then when he kissed her, oh gosh, that was like the best moment. And I will never not. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, y'all, but one more thing. I have to say another scene where I loved it so much, he was like, I can't keep kissing you. And she's like, and he had asked, like, oh, and when he counted down to 10, I don't know, sorry, y'all. So anybody who's watched Dawson's Creek, you know what I'm saying about these moments. Like, these were really iconic moments. And I was like, I cannot, nobody replaced Joey and Pacey for me. Like, that I remember everything scene, oh, everything. There's so many Pacey and Joey moments, and I'm like, there's no one who will beat that for me. Maybe because I was at that age, and when you're at that age, all of those things hit you so much in a different way, you know? It will be forever with me. Oh, and Joshua Jackson, yes. Pacey was my first internet boyfriend. Yes. Oh my word. So much love for Pacey. Yes, because Pacey was a flawed person, but he loved Joey. He never felt like he was good enough for Joey, but he always loved Joey. And that scene where they fight, where he finally's like, "I need you." He's like, "I'm letting you go," or so, I forgot what he said. It was when Jen was dying and they were in the kitchen, and he's like, I'm gonna let you go. She's like, I don't want you to let me go. I just don't want you to think that, you know, that it's okay or whatever. I don't know, but like it was just every scene with Joey and Pacey was magic to me. Like it was always magic. Oh, Salia said he's still beautiful. And May, when you said Pacey is clearly your Roman Empire, he is. He is. Like, I still get giddy. I'm like in another place. I'm in another place emotionally. Like, literally, I'm in another place emotionally thinking about it. Because it was so good. Nothing beats it. Nothing beats it. Nothing will. I don't think anything could ever beat Joey and Pacey for me. Stella says, sorry, I need to get some rest. It's almost 3 a.m. here. Good night till tomorrow. Night. Heather, y'all have me giggling. Yes. Kinselia said Pacey had any girl that was a teen in the 90s on lockdown for sure. Gabby said, OMG, that scene is iconic. One of my favorite scenes of all time of theirs. Team Pacey all the way. Absolutely. I Heart Sleeping. I used to watch Mighty Ducks all the time because of Joshua Jackson. I love it. May! I'm sorry to say I haven't seen Dawson's Creek. You know what? The thing here is, like, sometimes it doesn't hit the same way. I don't know if it's going to hit the same way for you, but I hope it does. If you ever watch it, I hope it hits you the same way, because I just remember waiting for the next episode. I really loved it. Though I do actually also like, I don't know if anybody has watched, like, Heart of Dixie. Is it called Heart of Dixie? With Wade and, how come I remember Wade's name and not the main person's name? But anyways, I could go there. I could go to all that. Angie says, same, gotta go update the Briggy? What's Briggy? GC before I conked out for the night. Had a blast. Thanks, Phoebe. Thanks, Angie. Yeah, I probably should be going. Okay, I will go in 10 minutes. But I got to, when I thought about Pacey, my word. Tam, I love Pacey. Me and my sister watch faithfully. Yes. Now, here's the thing. In the beginning, like, I remember, like, my former best friend and I, he and I called each other when, when Dawson kissed Joey. Like, at that time, you know, we hadn't had a chance to be Team Pacey yet. I did feel like there was chemistry from the beginning, but I remember we called each other. We were giddy over the first kiss between Dawson and Joey, but I really am not. I've never. Oh, Sebi Gioran said, Wade is my Roman Empire. That one was like, Molly said, ugh, Wade for real. Yes, because the first moment they met each other, I was like, how could that other guy that she liked, which I can't remember his name, compete? Because it was electric when they met each other. I was like, so I don't know what plans they had for Wade, but Wade had different plans because he was just like, ugh. He was ready. Angela, former best friend, story time. Actually, I will tell you, I actually said this in my time with May when we were having a discussion. So my former best friend. So we were 14 years old when we, like, first started hanging. Oh, actually, he's a year younger than me. So he's 13. He was 13 and I was 14. And we ended up getting to know each other more. We knew each other before that, but my sister was getting married in the Philippines. And he was one of those people that did, like, either like, what do you call it? Those rope and cords, or I don't know what they're called. Anyways, we It was one of those things where it's back when you're kids, like you talk about the most random things. We would talk for hours on end, like, and because I didn't see him often, we would have to like bunch up our conversation. So we would end up talking for like 3 or 4 hours. And back in those days, it's like you didn't have cell phones, so I would like have to like talk on a regular landline, and then that landline would die, start beeping. I would have to switch phones because thankfully we had like four of those home phones. So I would just switch phones until all of them died because we talked so long. And then, and then there was a time where I started dating who I refer to as the 6'7" guy. Um, and which is kind of funny now that that's what I refer to him as, because I got mad at my best friend because he didn't say his name. And I'm like, what's like so disrespectful? Like, why won't you say his name? And then I think he ended up like, this is all through email because he was in college by this point. And he's like, well, I'm sorry, I never said his name. And so he says the name in this email, and it was the last email he sent me for years. I never heard from him after that point. And I was like, what? It destroyed me. It was like so hurtful. My other friends were like, why do you care so much? Like, so what? Who cares? And I'm like, he is my best friend, and that really was hurtful. I didn't expect that. I didn't understand that. And the 6'7" guy and I didn't even really date. It's kind of not really, because it didn't last very long. Like literally did not last very long. And then out of the blue, he called me on my birthday. I don't think he remembered it was my birthday though. And it was because his dad was dying. And so this was the first conversation we had after he just like went missing for like 2.5 years, right? Because he knew he could call me. Because I used to say, I could be so mad at you, and you know what you do? You walk through that door and everything's okay. And so then we were back to being friends again. My other best friend, she was mad at him all the time. She's like, you better treat my friend right. And I was like, this is just who he is. Like, I don't know. But anyway, so there's different portions in our lives where we reconnected every single time. And then one day, this is going to be wild, y'all. One day I was sleeping, and I hadn't seen him in a bit. I was sleeping, and I woke up. And I was like, he's engaged. Like, I literally woke up out of my sleep and I said, he's engaged. And I checked his social media because I hadn't heard from him for a bit, and I felt bad because I had been busy and I hadn't kept in contact with him. And I checked his social media and it said he was engaged. Like, he did not tell me he got engaged. I just knew it. Like, I woke up out of my sleep and I was like, he's engaged. So I thought I was going to get to see him get married. But no. So I had messaged him on Facebook when I used to be on Facebook, which I'm not anymore. And I was like, am I not going to get to see you get married? And he responded in a way that I've never heard him speak to me before. It was so formal. And I was like, you've never, I thought it was kind of weird he responded that way, but he basically says, we can't be friends anymore. And I was like so shocked, and he unfriended me, and his fiance unfriended me at the same time, like literally seconds from each other. It took me a really long time to kind of process that, because it was like, wait, what happened? And I remember I went to lunch with my cousin, and I'm telling her the story, and I'm all confused. And this guy, random guy, was sitting there, and he's like, I don't mean to be I'm listening to this story, but just want to let you know, I don't think it's him. I think it's his fiance. And that was the first time I even considered that was probably the case, because I was like, it really didn't sound like him. It was so formal. The next time I ever saw him, he, at this point, was already married with his first child. And it was his cousin's wedding. And when he introduced me to his wife and his kid, it was like normal. So it was kind of weird. I was like, because he usually would be awkward. Like, he's just an awkward dude. If he thinks like something is awkward, he'll be awkward. But he wasn't awkward. So that added even more question in my brain of like, really, did he write it? Maybe he did. I don't know. I wasn't really mad at it because I understand that you have to put your spouse first. But I felt like we had established the reality that once he got married or once I got married, that we would always like, it would just be different. You know, I always thought that was understood. Anyways, long story short, or long story long, one day, this is going to be extra wild, y'all. One day, I talked to his cousins, and I said, you know what? I just feel like something's wrong. And I said, and I think it's about him, but I don't want to tell you guys that because you'll be like, you know, why are you still talking about him? It's been years. And it turned out to be the case that a year or so later, again, I was sleeping and I woke up and I was like, he's divorced. He's divorced. So I went online and I saw he got divorced because I didn't know because it doesn't show divorce papers or anything. But what it showed was that the house they used to own was sold because that's all public record. And so I reached out to his cousins and said, is he divorced? And they said, yes, he divorced a few years ago. And they said, do you remember when you came up to us and you said, I feel like something's wrong and I think it's with him. And we did not tell you at that time that he was getting a divorce. So how wild is that? That I knew he was going to get engaged, or I knew he got engaged. I knew when he divorced, even before I knew he was divorced. And then but then the only thing that's confusing to me was like, why did I know it again for a second time? And I was like, maybe the reason is because there would be no proof that he was divorced a year before that. Like if I thought he was divorced, I would have looked at something and it would not have shown yet. So now it does show. That's the only reason I felt like I would know the second time. Because I'm like, why am I feeling this now? I didn't know. But anyways, that's the story. Long story. I know like there's some folks that are like, who cares, Phoebe? We're not here for you. We're here for Luke and Nicola. But you asked for a story time, and that is a story time. I've always felt connected to him. I've always felt like I know when he's hurting. I knew when he called that day that it was going to be because the day that he called me for the first time after cutting off communication for those years, I knew most likely something was going on with his dad. And, you know, I remember one time when he was a pilot at that time, and I ran away to Tennessee for a little bit of time, just trying to run away from stuff that I couldn't run away from because it was inside me. So you can't run away from yourself. But he had a layover in Tennessee. And so we met up and just talked and caught up, and it was so much fun. We ended up like sitting in in this one hotel, just looking up at the elevators. I know that sounds wild. Like what's like fun about looking up at elevators? But we were like making up stories about like how futuristic it looks, and you know, we just had a lot of fun stories together. So he was an important person in my life. So it's weird. So I haven't talked to him since his cousins got married. That was the last time I ever saw him. And last time, PGC599 said, "Are you in touch with him?" No. He's my former best friend. He's not my best friend anymore. So, yeah. Marie Constantine, you can't run away from yourself is a good line. That's what I'm dealing with just now. Yeah. So, I will tell you though, like the fact that I can tell you that story and not bawl my eyes out or not feel like a wreck inside tells me how much I've grown and how much I've moved on from like that friendship loss, because they're right. Like friendship losses are tougher than romantic losses because, you know, you expect romance to end. I mean, did I think he was going to get a divorce? No, I didn't expect that at all. Because I know him enough to know he probably fought tooth and nail to keep that marriage together. Like, he's always wanted to be a father. He's always wanted to be a husband. So I can't imagine that he didn't fight tooth and nail to keep that family together. But I mean, you know, when I found out he was divorced, people are like, are you going to reach out to him? And I said, no, because if he wanted me to reach out to, he wanted to have contact with me, he would have made contact with me. And so I'm going to respect the fact that he didn't choose to do that. And I think we're very, very, very different people now. I don't think we see eye to eye on many things anymore. And I loved I loved like friendships like that when you're young, because it's so uncomplicated. And I think when you get older, it gets complicated unnecessarily, and usually because of other people. So sometimes I'm like, why can't friendship be enough? And that's why I think I feel that for Nick and Luke as well, because it's like people sometimes talk like friendship is a consolation prize, and I just never believe that, because if I could be friends with my former best friend to this day, I would be. Like, I feel like if we stayed kind of like in the same mindset, we probably would still be friends, you know? So, oh, Lexi said this isn't helping our Delulu. But I will say, no, honestly, though, friendship is so important. Friendship is so important. And, like, I just don't want, like, them to feel like people are poo-pooing their friendship, because their friendship is so, so important. Anyways, I can't believe it's 12:04. I said I was just going to stay for 10 more minutes, but thank you, y'all, for actually even wanting to know that story. And so, that's just kind of where it's at. Thanks, everyone. I'll hopefully see y'all's tomorrow. Bye.